everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be here. You know, it's 2020. You know, I took a little break. If I didn't mention that in my previous video, I did take a little bit of break because normally after the Christmas and Carnival season, listen, I need to recuperate, I need to eat, I need to sleep, I need to drink my water, I need to eat my fruits, I need to get back in gear, get myself back up and running before I can actually sit in front of this camera and film. And back I am here, and I did a bit of a throwback makeup look. For those of you who couldn't guess, maybe you were like, what the hell is that? And you may have read the title of this video and be like, oh, that's makeup from the 90s. That makes more sense because I have never seen her makeup looking like that. By the way, if you happen to be here for the very first time, my name is Donella and this is my little world of makeup right here. And if you are interested in seeing how I created this 90s inspired look, please stay tuned. I'm actually going to be incorporating two primers for this look. I'm going to start off with using the Milk Hydro Grip primer base, and I got myself the large one, girl, because yeah, I tried the travel size one and I was in love with it. It's so good. So I'm actually going to put this more on the perimeter of my face, and yeah, I love how this primer just actually grips your makeup. Just add a little bit right here. And then I'm going to go in with the CoverGirl True Blend Base Business Pore Minimizing Primer. Pay more attention to this area right here with this primer because this is where I have my large pores. I'm just going to dab that in right. My primer is basically drying down and doing whatever it needs to do to prep my skin before I apply my foundation. I'm going to just make my eyebrows. I'm going to try to make my eyebrows as thin as possible. I don't know if anybody remembers, but throughout the entire 90s and maybe like the early half of the millennial, like thin eyebrows was a thing. And I used to have thin eyebrows too. Like I used to just shape them so that they're really thin because, you know, that was a thing back then. But now I'm actually going to fill my eyebrows into its actual shape. Just use a bit of my concealer to just thin it out as much as I can. Thinner part was more like here at the tail, so I'm going to just fill it in as much as I can, and then yeah, we're gonna go into the thinning out. Okay, so one of the makeup trends back in the 90s was of course that really highlighted brow color that everybody used to just have this like kind of like nude or like whitey shade. I want to say whitey, but it was more like a nude shade that everybody used to have like a brow color right under here. So in order for me to get that, I normally use my NC50 to sculpt my eyebrows out. So I'm going to go down like 2 or 3 shades lighter. This is NC45 in order for me to kind of get that. And then all I have to do is just basically apply that nude color. So then we get that really nice 90s brow color. So yeah, this is going to be like super light. So, you know, stay with me here. I'm going to try to make my eyebrows a little bit thinner as well. It dries down real fast, and I really don't want too much of that color stuck in the hair part, like in some hair areas I should say. So I'm just going to drag some of this downwards. Then blend it out. So we already have that bit of brown color, that little bit of contrast going on right here. I'm just going to add a bit more of it because, yeah, back in the 90s, everybody had that super bright underneath brow bone shade, I should say. I feel like my eyebrow is still a little bit too big. I feel like it needs to be a little thinner, but I'm not going to use that same very light shade to the top. I'm actually going to use a concealer that's my skin's complexion because it's gonna look a little bit kind of scary putting that really light concealer to the top. Or you could actually use foundation if you don't have a concealer that's your skin's actual complexion and you want to recreate this 90s inspired look. You could just use your foundation, but since I have this concealer, I'm just going to use this. I'm going to go really close to my hair because I want to thin this out really thin. Yes, girl. And then I'm going to use, should I use this brush? Yeah, I think I could use this brush. This is the brush that I use to blend out this lighter shade of concealer. I just didn't want it to leave like any of that whitey residue from that concealer, but it seems to be doing a good job. And of course, you know, your finger is the best blender ever. Like the tips of your finger, they are the best blenders ever. So I'm just going to pull this up a little bit more to the top so it doesn't look so square. Yeah, now that's looking like a 90s eyebrow. And then I'm going to go over here on the other side and thin this one out as well. Okay, so now, you know, you can go a little bit thinner, but I feel like if I go any thinner, I might look a little bit scary. You know, I don't want to go too thin, and then yeah, I don't think I should be any thinner than this. But if anybody who grew up in the 90s like I did, we all know that monochromatic looks was a trend. It was a makeup, it was a big makeup trend back in the 90s. You saw it on regular people walking on the road, working class people. You also saw it on celebrities. And a monochromatic look is basically taking different shades of the same color, you know, like a lighter green compared to a darker shade of green, and basically just applying that. That was the makeup trend back in the 90s. So I'm going to try to use a popping color. You guys know I don't really use like popping colors because I'm like a nudist in terms of makeup, just so that we are clear on that. So what I'm going to do, I've always been told that blues look really good on me, so I'm going to go into this Juvia's Place Masquerade mini palette, and I'm going to incorporate this shade of blue right here to create my 90s inspired look. All right, so I'm always, of course, going to start off with a brown shade to warm up the area a little bit. So I'm going to start off with this shade of brown. This one is called, I don't know, I can't see. I think the shade name gone, but it's this shade of brown right here. This is, as you guys can see, I use the shade of brown a lot because yeah, I like brown and bronzy and earthy tones. Those are the colors that I more reach for, and if I'm reaching for a color, it's always green. But you know, for filming purposes and because I want to be a little bit more, you know, out of the box, I'm going to be using blue, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this shade of blue right here. This one is called Dahlia. I'm going to start off by using a blending brush because I'm going to go in by basically blending the color in, and then I'm actually going to go from darkest to lightest. So from here it will be lightest to darkest. So I'm going to start by just basically brushing that here because this area is where I want the lightest shade of blue to be. This is where your blending technique actually comes in, and a bit of patience, because when you're blending out these colors you have to be so patient. For filming purposes, I'm actually going to cut this off because this blending technique takes a bit of time. Honestly, it does. Into my Carity matte palette. This one's from Carity Beauty. I'm going to go into this like sky blue shade right here, and I'm actually going to apply it right here directly underneath my brow bone, just to kind of diffuse some of the blue from the Juvia's Place, because you guys know those are like really pigmented. I mean, pigmented was not a word back in the 90s. We did not use words like pigmented. We said something was sparkly or glittery. Those were the words that we used. Over time, you know, makeup words evolve. We have things like luminous skin, dewy skin, you know, sun-kissed skin. We just knew about plain matte makeup back in the 90s. That is all we knew about. All right, so I'm going to go in now with my eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to apply a heavy coat of the blue directly on my lid. And I'm not going to apply it in this direction, I'm going to do it downwards. I feel like when I do this, the application in terms of the allowing the eyeshadows to kind of blend together, I feel like it does a much better job when you drag it downwards. Like everything just blends easier together. To go back into my Juvia's Place palette, I'm going to take this like really frosty white shade right here. I'm going to dip my brush in. I'm going to apply the frosty shadow directly underneath my brow bone. You guys know what this is. Back in the 90s, everybody wanted that brow color, and because I'm using blue, I think this frosty color is going to work really well in terms of the contrast. Yeah, this was 90s makeup. This is how we did makeup back then, girl. This is how we look. This is how we look. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this eye, and then I'm going to be right back. This trip down memory lane, just looking at how makeup has seriously evolved. I mean, even in today's makeup trends, like now that we're in 2020, you could still see a lot of the makeup trends from back in the 90s like making a comeback, especially the the monochromatic looks where you just wear one shade of color on your lid. You see that a lot, like persons like persons like Pat McGrath, Danessa Myricks, those famous makeup artists. They still use them on their models, on their celebrity clients. Charlotte Tilbury, like you see a lot of the celebrities on their red carpet still still wearing a lot of these 90s inspired looks. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those eras where everybody was just playing up with colors. Colors was a thing. Baggy jeans was a thing. What I name Farmer Brown's jumpsuit, whatever you want to call them, was a thing. Crop tops was a thing. Wear your little crop tops with your Farmer Brown over it. That was a thing. And it's baggy, and yeah, man, that was a thing back then. I'm going to apply a bit of black liner. Yeah, black liner was a thing. Yeah, everybody loved their black liner. And then I'm going to try and find a suitable pair of lashes to go with these extremely blue eyes I have going on. Eyes are this blue. I'm going to use like a really black. I'm out of my Inglot, because you guys know I love my Inglot. So I'm going to be using the next best thing, which is this black fluid liner from MAC Cosmetics. And I'm also going to be using the MAC 210 liner brush. It is like the thinnest pot liner brush you could find on the market right now. You guys know MAC has been killing the game since forever now. So they have everything. Like if you're starting out as a makeup artist, MAC is the brand that you have to get, because they have everything, every single thing. We're going to double up the fun by applying some mascara. This one is what is this called? This is a waterproof, I don't know what this mascara is called, but it's from Maybelline, New York, obviously. It is, I don't know, I have no idea. Like, it's, some of the name came off, because I normally clean off my stuff with alcohol, so I think the alcohol may have removed the name. All I know is a really nice mascara, and it's waterproof. So yeah, guys know I have sensitive eyes, so anything that's waterproof and all that, yes, I'm on it. All right, so I'm going to apply these I Envy So Wispy lashes. These are some old lashes I've been using over time. Just peel them off real quick and just pop them on, and then I'm gonna come back real quick for us to finish the rest of the face. On to complexion products now. Now, back in the 90s, everybody wore matte, a full-on matte makeup with a nice glossy lip. We didn't know anything about dewy liquid foundation, luminous foundation, radiant foundation, all those fancy words that you find in terms of makeup as of today. We didn't have those. Everybody just knew about the matte makeup look, and everybody wanted that. Like, everybody used to walk around with a makeup compact, whenever you start to look a little sweaty. Even today, everybody's walk around with a compact when you start to look a little sweaty, because you want that full-on matte look, because that was the makeup trend then. So to get that full-on matte look, I'm going to be using my Black Opal foundation stick, and I'm using the shade Karab. Yes, I'm almost out of it, like it's down, but I absolutely love this. And this actually dries down to like a semi-matte. It's not a full-on matte foundation, but because it's stick foundation and because of what I'm trying to achieve here, I'm going to be using it for this tutorial. So by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with this sponge, it is from Colored Rain. Can you see the word Colored Rain right here? I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's from Colored Rain. Okay, so next I'm going to be using my Too Faced Bond This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. Very long name. This one is in the shade Spiced Rum, and I'm just going to be dragging a bit of that right beneath my eyes, because I'm trying to clean up the little bit of fallout I have underneath there as well. So let me just drag that right here, put a little bit here and here. these little babies are so useful when it comes to blending out your under eye. Absolutely amazing. But yes, I'm going to be using my MAC Soft Yellow Studio Fix powder. All right, so I'm going to go into this powder reminds me so much of my Fenty powder because it takes away shine, and the one thing I love about it is that it doesn't change the color of your complexion product. It just literally dissolves right into the foundation, concealer, whatever it is that you apply to. It doesn't change the color. I mean, look at this side where I just applied the powder. You know, she's already nice and matte compared to over here where it's just still, you know, we're still seeing that shine. But, you know, we're creating that 90s look. So we're gonna get that shine away. So we gotta pack that powder on because we ain't looking for no radiance or no shine or anything. We're creating a 90s look. So let's get super matte. So I'm going to apply this actually in the centermost part of my face. Eliminate the shine almost immediately. I normally don't do this, but because I want that super bright on the eye highlight like in the 90s, I applied a bit more of the MAC powder just so I can bake. And I'm going to go in using my Prime Beauty bronzer. It's got a bronzer, not a bronzer. I'm just going to lightly tap the areas where I want to apply the bronzer. It was more about the under eyebrow highlight and the highlight underneath your eyes in the 90s. That was our main focus, having that super bright highlight. Girl, yeah, we were popping. Well, we thought we were popping. Okay, so we have that, and let me just I'm actually going to take the same brush and just brush away the excess matte powder because I know I'm already super matte. Next step would be applying blush. Now blush was a big thing back in the 90s. Everybody had that popping red blush. Unfortunately, I do not own a red blush, so I'm going to use the next best thing. I'm going to be using this creamy blush from BH Cosmetics, and I'm just going to just apply, you know, real heavy, just so we can get that 90s look going on. And of course, you know, back in the 90s we had powder blush. We had nothing like a creamy, not a liquid blush back then. But I don't own any powder blushes, so I'm just going to, all of my blushes are more liquid and creamy, just like this. So I'm just going to apply this heavy so we could still get that whole 90s vibe going on right there. So I think I went a little bit too high with this. I need to apply a bit more here for the apples of my cheek so that it looks more 90s. I think I have more on this side than that side. I'm gonna use I'm going to use my brush to blend it out because I think I'm going a little bit crazy here. So let me just, ooh girl, we get a little crazy just now. Last but not least, we're going to be focusing on the lips. Now, back in the 90s, everybody killed the brown liner and then applied a lipstick. It was like Mary J. Blige, and who else were? I can't think of anybody else, but Mary J. Blige definitely comes to mind. She used to wear that gold, like really gold lipstick back in the 90s with a whole ton of brown lip liner. So I'm actually going to use a brown. I know the black liner trend was also from the 90s, but no ma'am, I'm not doing that. I prefer to use brown and then apply the lipstick over it. Everybody's lip looked like this back in the 90s. Everybody had that. What am I clapping? Seriously, everybody had that overdrawn lip pencil, and then we would apply the lipstick in the middle. In fact, ombre lips was a trend back in the 90s, and I think the early part of the millennial as well. It was a big trend, and you guys know certain things are making their comeback. I'm actually going to use this what's going on here, girl? Oh, this is my Riri Woo. I was actually gonna use this, but you know, she's all the way down here. I decided to incorporate, you know, just a timeless lipstick, because back then, you know, we ain't had them liquid, we ain't had a lipstick with no wand and all them things. So I decided to use a regular lipstick. highlight wasn't really a big thing back in the 90s either, but I think just for filming purposes I'm going to be adding a bit of my Studio Finish face powder. This is in the shade Gold. This is actually a really light shade, so it's not really going to show up. And you guys know I like to go real heavy with my highlight, but I'm not going to do that in this case because everything is supposed to be super matte. And if I think I'm going a little bit crazy, I might have to actually pack a little bit of powder over it. But no. Let me go in with my Colored Rain powder and just blot that out. Cause I think, I know myself, I'm going to go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy with the highlight. I'm gonna start liking it, and then I'll be like, ooh! And everything gonna go crazy. So let me just add a bit more bronzer in that area right there. Let's bronze it back up. Let's bronze it back up, yeah. And then I'm going to go back in again with the BH Cosmetics blush, just so I can cover up that area right there where I applied the highlight. Yeah, so it looks more 90s. So this is the completed look of my 90s inspired makeup tutorial. You guys know back in the 90s everybody loved to play up with a bunch of different colors. You know, I have my 90s swoop on the side here. I have my 90s hoops on. Of course I have my 90s makeup on. So if you guys happen to have enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and also please be sure to leave me a comment down in the comment section. Let me know the type of video that you want to see next. We have come to the end of this video. By the way, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button on your way out. Until my next video, I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye bye.